Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. I'm Ron Partridge, I'm your host, and I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Andrew Aston. Andrew is the founder of Human Element Company, LLC. Human Element finds amazing people that fit seamlessly into your culture. So we're going to talk about that, which is very interesting, by the way. So, Andrew, I'm thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you for having me on your show. We are a full service staffing recruitment company. We do retained search, direct hire search, contract to hire, and we payroll for a lot of our clients that just want the human touch with it. They want someone, not just a big company to process payroll. They want someone who they can pick up the phone and call. And that's really the differentiator between the Human Element Company. There are thousands of agencies out there. Many of your clients and yourself probably have experience working with them. The simple difference with us is we called it the Human Element Company. So we have to walk that walk where we take the time to meet every single person we work with. And that's really the big difference compared to us to all the other companies out there, which are amazing companies to work with and might have great resources. But again, the difference with us is when we present a candidate, it's someone we've gotten to know. And that's how we fit them into culture seamlessly, because a resume is great, technical skills are great, but it's the soft skills and the communication and who that person is and their purpose of why they wake up in the morning to go to a job, which will separate someone from seamlessly entering an organization and one that's going to take 6 months to a year to adjust to what that organization does.
Yeah, that's interesting. As a former executive for many years, probably the biggest challenge I had was not finding people or qualifying their technical skills, but really finding people that fit culturally into the culture you were trying to build. You don't have to tell us your secret sauce, but how do you go about doing that? Do you have any methodologies or anything?
So the methodology we use, the first one is to understand the culture that we're trying to fill a position for. And that starts with if the opportunity, sometimes with, if they're in New York or New Jersey, we can't get on site immediately. But through virtual calls and speaking with either the heads of HR or the C-suite levels that are looking to hire, we get an understanding of the company's purpose. What is their mission? What drives them? Is it just profit? Is it growth? Is it giving back to community or charity? What is their main mission? And by finding that out, we are then able to flip the script and go to candidates and talk to them. And that's how we align it. It's not a secret sauce. Honestly, the secret sauce is a lot more hours put into the effort than finding someone phone call, hey, what's the salary range, commute, thank you, move forward. This takes a little bit more, where you're going to sit down and talk with someone, what are their priorities and where they want to go. Some people, their biggest concern is their salary, and that's all they care about. That's not going to fit well with a purpose-driven company. That's going to be a bad mix, right? And flip the switch with the other one. Some companies are only about profit and top performers. Now that's great, but we need to know that before we reach each candidate, sit down and talk to them and say, when you wake up in the morning, what are your key drivers? Like, what motivates you? Commission? Is it satisfaction of your job? Is it helping people? Like medical devices, it's your patients come first. Those are key elements that we get from the client, and then we translate it into speaking with potential candidates to find out those soft skills. And then obviously keeping the resume, their actual skills to do the job is important, but the soft skills is what makes that person hit the ground running immediately.
Now, is there a constant dialogue with the clients on, hey, I presented you these slate of candidates, and you get feedback from it? Are you constantly adjusting?
It's continuous learning, because as we go through the process, we have clients that have hired our people on the spot. Like, just they met Jane Doe and they're like, you nailed it the first time, great. We have other clients that it takes us a couple interviews to get to that process of really narrowing down the person that they're looking for. Again, the differentiators, we're not looking at resumes, we're looking at human element, the soft skills. That's not going to be on our resume. So that takes a little bit of some time and effort to find and narrow that down. But we're pretty successful. We're not and if a company is just struggling 5-10 interviews and they're not hiring, there's usually a problem behind that. And that will predicate us or myself or my team to get on the call with the client and be like, okay, what are the barriers? Why aren't you moving forward? We're providing good people. Is there hesitancy to hire? Are there budget issues? And as executive, we all know we've been there. We have the budget for it. The CFO knocks on the door and the budget's gone in 30 days. So we adjust to situations like that for our clients.
Looking back on my career and the people I had on my team, we're not the best soft skill interviewers, right? I can interview for technical skill or competency. How do you coach the client to really look at the soft skills?
So it is when we present a candidate, it's going to have all their availability, their commute, salary, contract expectations. But our main submittal is going to be on the human element, on that human being. The resume is their technical skills. So we coach our clients on the fact that, listen, when you're meeting one of our candidates, your evaluation process is more on their technical skills. They're going to have the core values that match up of what you're looking for. You're going to want this person on your team. They're going to have the communication, the soft skills, and want to be a part of that organization. So that's not the interview process. The interview process is, do they have the technical skills from an engineering perspective, from a marketing or a manufacturing or medical device? Those skills are what's being evaluated. And we've already done upfront on the human piece. Then it's just a conversation like this. Like, I remember Ron, he seemed like a great guy. He'd be a great addition to the team. He also happens to be a great CEO with all these experiences and everything else. So it becomes the human piece first. And then we let our clients evaluate through that interview process, just the technical skills that they feel comfortable bringing that person on.
Yeah, that makes sense because it seems like that's more of a recipe for success. Have you had some successes you can refer to?
Yeah, we've had people go in. I was working with a huge manufacturing company on the East Coast, and the individual that we presented, I won't say his name or the company, but we put him, he was quite junior, but very technical. One of those individuals that if you gave him a problem on Friday, he was going to take it home all weekend, find a solution, and come back on Monday. But he didn't have the management experience. So when I presented him to the client, they were looking for like a director level. And I said, listen, this is the type of person that's going to lead by example, jump over the wall. Everybody's going to follow him naturally. You could get him some training. You could get him some coaching skills, some mentoring skills. You can invest in him as a potential director. But if you looked at his resume, you wouldn't have hired him as a director. They hired him, and within 3 months, he was the director, and he's still there 4 years later, running the entire team. Again, it goes back to you can give people opportunity to train and get skills, but you can't train a human to be a leader or be that person who everybody's going to follow.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So what are the biggest challenges in your industry, and how are you helping your clients with that?
I think one of the biggest challenges is AI. I go to a lot of meetings for AI. It's being used by candidates, by clients to write job descriptions, to write resumes, to formulate questions and answers. People are using AI during interviews. So one of the things we tell it's amazing with earphones and dual computers. It is incredibly powerful if used the right way. But again, the nature of our company, the Human Element Company, is exactly the tool we're using. We don't, perfect example, I had a client last week say to me, Andrew, there was a spelling mistake on the resume you sent to me. And I said, great. And he was like, what do you mean great? And I said, we don't format the resumes. We don't put it through an AI machine. You're getting Jane or John Doe as their most authentic self. And if they missed something or made a mistake, that's not something we're looking at. And his reaction was like, oh, I really like that.
That is unique, actually, very unique.
Yeah, because AI is changing everybody's world. You can respond to an RFP or an RFI in minutes rather than hours. You can create scripts. It's such a powerful tool. But again, with that power to change things, you can write. We question everything when I see the perfect resume. I really do. But I still give the person the opportunity because I'm not going to besmirch them or withhold an opportunity because they use that tool to write the perfect resume. I would just like them to tell me that they did that and embrace it. Great. Thank you for telling me that. Your resume is, in my first interview, when I talk to that person with the perfect resume, the first thing I'll say is, what an amazing resume. Did you write that? And if they say, no, I ran it through AI and it has really turned out great, we're moving forward because they're using the tools in the right way, but I know they're using the tools.
Yeah, that's great. And the honesty too. Yeah, I used AI
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed.
And so I would say AI is the biggest challenge. Number two, and this was commonplace for everyone, why we have a job and we'll have a job indefinitely, finding great people is so hard. It is so hard. I have all of my clients telling me that they have great internal teams, they have great postings. I had one client over the holidays tell me they posted one job for a business analyst. They got 684 applicants
Wow.
in a week. And I said, okay, did you go through them? And he's like, well, my team's going through them. And he's out of 684, we're narrowing it down to like 30. And out of those 30, they've got to narrow it down to 5 or 10 that are going to talk to. So with technology, you could be applying to jobs all day, every day that you have no business applying to, nor would be a fit. And that's a big challenge, a good challenge for us, because we'll be employed for the next 5 or 10 years because it's not going anywhere.
That was great, but I want to change it up a little bit here.
Okay.
We're going to do what's called a lightning round, and really
All right.
for our viewers to get a chance to know you personally. So I'm just going to ask you some questions, and you just shoot me the first answer that comes to mind. All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Tea, for sure.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs always.
Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Never give up.
Love it. Favorite movie or streaming series?
Favorite movie? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm just going to say Stanley Kubrick because he's got a few.
All right. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Alchemy, right behind me, up on my shelf.
Nice.
The Alchemist.
There you go. Okay, last question, two-part question. One bucket list item that you've already accomplished and one bucket list item that you haven't accomplished.
Bucket list, I've jumped a Baja truck.
Right.
A bucket list I want to do is I would love to be a part of a Baja race, endurance race.
Oh, that's great. The most important question is if our viewers wanted to get a hold of you to collaborate with you and work with you, how would they do that?
Simple Google search. I'm number 2, and this is my leave behind. If you search Google Andrew Aston, unfortunately, I share the same name, same date of birth, same year with the most notorious serial killer in England. So I'm number 2, not number 1. So I leave that because people are like, no. And then they'll Google me and they're like, you weren't joking. So that's my leave behind. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on Google, but I'm number 2, not number 1.
All right. That's pretty funny. Dark too.
Yeah. It's
how about your website? What is your website?
www.humanelementcompany.com. Very straightforward. And like I said, I'm on LinkedIn. I think I'm on a couple other sites and easily found on Google with all my contact information. It's all out there.
Cool. All right, Andrew. Hey, thank you for your time. Thanks for the insights. It's very interesting. So I appreciate
Ron,
that.
thank you for the invitation. It was great being on your show and great format. And if I can ever be of assistance, you know how to get a hold of me. Number 2.
Thank you, Andrew.